right, all right, all right. All right, we're live then.
Hey, what's going on?
What's the word? What's the word? All right, so like I just said, I thought today we could do two segments for sure. So I thought maybe just for starters, kind of go through the Twitter feed. I got it set up. There's a bunch of different things going on.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I really can't believe that. How the hell they're getting away with everything with those trials with Trump, man. That's just the smartest people, the analysts, TV pundits, everybody's baffled how the hell they're able to keep this guy in court
Well,
with
it's
the
not hard at all to understand how they're doing it. It's
but how the hell is there no like I know there's a what is it a board of appeals or what the hell is it, the some sort of
well,
governing
yeah,
body. So whoever, like, say for the Georgia trial, how they're trying to remove Fannie Willis. They've appealed to the Georgia Board of Appeals. Is that what it is? Like a Board of Appeals? Does
I believe so.
every state
Yeah,
has
or
something like that?
the
Yeah.
appellate court. Yeah.
So that's above any judge, right? Or any trial, any court.
Well, anytime you appeal, you're going above.
Yeah. So
So there's
I don't.
levels to appeals, but yeah, eventually the Supreme Court would be the top.
Yeah, well, I don't get statewide. I guess I don't get how they haven't just used that approach. Just reach out to those people. Like, these judges are corrupt. Like, these trials are corrupt. I don't get. They're barely doing it now, but I just don't
Well, I
understand how they're
mean,
able to keep tolerating all that stuff, man.
it's not the way they're doing it is simple. I mean, it's the deep state, right? So you have the people. You have so many. The thing is like what people miss is the level of corruption, and it's in judges, appellate courts. You have it all over the place now. Not all of them are, but they have enough of them to make it happen. And the way they do it is either through bribes or blackmail. Period. You know,
But
and you bribe them with money or positions, and if that doesn't work, then you dig into their past and you blackmail them, and and you threaten them with things like, "We won't support your reelection campaign if they're elected judges," or will start we'll get people to come out in the streets and protest you in front of your house, kind of thing. There's
yeah,
many different ways they can do this, but when you understand that the United States government apparatus is run by deep state actors, they have people in high positions throughout America, and they're able to do all this stuff, and the main key is the law enforcement arm of it. They have all of that, at the top level, at the federal level. So at the end of the day, they have all the investigative power of the CIA, FBI, DOJ, Attorney General to come after you. Now, if you're a reasonable person who's not really corrupt, and you're a judge or an appellate judge, and these people start coming at you saying, "Hey, here's some money," right? Okay, no, I don't want it. I'm not corrupt. I'm not doing that. Okay, well, we're going to take a look into your past, into your husband's past, your wife's past, your family's past, etc. We're going to start looking at everybody
yeah.
that you know and care about. And if we find anything, we're coming after them. Now, if you had something to hide there, or you're a little worried about something, you give in. If that doesn't work, then we're going to go with, okay, we're going to start campaigns against you, right? Like, they have that company now that's come out that they have crowds on demand.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
paid. It's a company that the government funnels money into through other. They don't do it directly. They funnel money into there. They take taxpayer money, funnel it into other PACs and companies, and then they pay for this crowds on demand to come protest anything. Paid protesters. That's why you see all these protests. These are paid protesters, a lot of them,
yeah.
and they get up to $500 a day. So you can put pressure on these judges or anybody you want when you have this sort of deep state apparatus in place. And that's how they do it. It's not complicated how they do it. I think where people get misguided on it is that they think that
I
they're
thought
thinking the
things have
best
to
of
make
people, like
sense, but they're doing
people
shit
are going
that
to do the
doesn't.
right things. Yeah, go ahead.
No, no. I was just saying that I would think if they pulled anything like that, that they whatever they did had to make sense. They have to justify it. It has to seem normal, and
But justify it to who?
to the public, But it seems like they're not even caring, or they know most of the public isn't really paying attention to these types of details.
Well, even
So
if you like, we know that this doesn't make sense and it's wrong. But what, in their opinion, is you don't have any power. What are you going to do about it?
yeah, I guess
Right?
I
What, seriously, what is the public going to do about it when your entire government, the majority of it, is corrupt and against you? They have all the power. You don't have any, unless you all unite and just overthrow us. You can't do anything about what we're doing.
I guess it's just that. I guess they normally would always try to pretend it's legal or whatever they're doing. Whatever they're doing is crooked. That it's a normal approach. It's a democratic approach. It's not going to ruin the credibility of the United States. But in this case, they're throwing that all out the door. They're just completely saying, "Screw it. Everything we've criticized other countries for doing, we're going to do this shit towards Trump, and we don't give a damn." Like, and yeah, it comes back to what are you guys going to do about it? We're the top, but yeah, they never wanted. They've always tried to walk a fine line of of doing that. Like we are doing the right thing, but you know deep down, we both know we're crooked as hell. And in this case, they're just like straight saying like we don't care if you think we're crooked. We're trying to stop this guy no matter what.
Well, they do care, and that's the genius. Or you can look at Trump as like he did us a great favor or and a great disservice at the same time, because before Trump, this was all still going on, but the public, including us, for the most part, were oblivious to it because they did hide it and it wasn't being blasted out there. But Trump, when Trump came into office, um, he put all this out there. He
Yeah,
exposed so much of this that they can't hide it so well anymore. And now they got to get rid of him. So he did us a favor in letting us know, hey, your government is super corrupt. But at the same time, he opened Pandora's box.
yeah,
Now it's out there. Now they're going to come harder, and that's why they're coming after Trump so hard. Is because he's the leader of the opposition of corruption, and he has the votes and the people behind him. So they have to stop him at all costs, and so this is what they're doing.
yeah. I guess he's just speaking too much truth. They can't.
Yeah, like I said, they didn't expect for him to get in. It was a joke, right? So if you go back to how this happened, is they basically control the elections all along, but they don't rig the election. They rig the primary. So the Democrat candidate for the presidency and the Republican, as well as House and Senate and whatever. But if you just talk presidential, they rigged the primaries. So if you vote for Bush or Clinton, it didn't matter who won to the deep state.
Yeah,
They both those guys are going to do their bidding. But Trump was an anomaly where they didn't really go out. They went after him, but they didn't go after him too hard as they. If they could play it back, they would went after him super hard when he was first running because they didn't think he had a chance in hell. It was a joke. It was like everyone was joking about it. He's not going to win, but then he did win, and they messed up. They didn't rig it,
yeah,
so they were rigging it for Bush, Jeb Bush,
yeah,
and Clinton. So if Jeb Bush and Clinton ran against each other, great. You Americans, you go ahead and vote for whichever you want in the general election. We'll let you think that there's a difference. There
yeah,
is no difference. They're going to do what we want because we're in control.
yeah,
But Trump got in, and it was a joke. They thought the voters would never accept him, but the voters did, and it shocked the world. And now once he got in, he's a billionaire. He doesn't need anything from this deep state, and they can't blackmail him. They can't bribe him. He's not, they don't have anything. And so, and he's a true American patriot,
yeah,
right? So he actually cares about the people and the country. So you got a guy in there who they can't control, who actually wants to do the right thing. And they're like, oh, wait, we can't have a guy who cares about America doing the right thing. What do you think this is? A democracy? So that's it's a double-edged sword. So it's good that he exposed all this to us, but at the same time, it made them more adamant or more ferocious about their approach, and so it's exposed them. But because they're exposed, they have to fight harder and get nastier
yeah,
to regain that power or maintain it, because they did rig the 2020 election and got their power back. They actually rigged the general election, which they don't normally do it that way, but they had to because they couldn't get rid of Trump. So now they want to go back to the way it was, get Trump out of there, and go back to what they were doing, and go back into their shell, and oh yeah, you guys, we're back to normal. You have a vote. Don't worry about it. It's all good. When the whole time it's been rigged our entire lives.
Well, they messed up because this shit woke a lot of people up. You know,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought there was some sort of difference between the two parties, but this for sure is making everybody realize it's one corrupt system, like one big corrupt system, like for sure. Like everything we've always been paranoid about and talked about all these years, they're just blatantly doing now.
Right. And that's what I say too. Is like a lot of people who listen to this would think, well, you guys are Republicans, you support Trump. I'm not. I'm registered independent because I know both parties are corrupt. So I'm not, on one side or the other. I think there's more corruption in the Democrat Party than the Republican, but there's corruption on both sides at the top level. Top levels of both parties are mostly corrupt. So it's very difficult for a righteous or non-corrupt politician to get anything done, because the people that are really in charge, that are above them, who will give money to their campaigns, the DNC, the RNC, or they're in control of all these things. They're going to not give them money for re-election. They're going to come after them with personal attacks, crowdfunding protesters, whatever it takes. Let's look into your background. We're going to, we'll bring you up on charges. All these different things, all these different tools that this massive government that's corrupt has at their disposal to destroy any political enemies. Anybody who starts rising, they can just destroy you. It's super hard to be able to do that, and Trump has done it.
Yeah.
He's the only one, and that's why they come after him in every way imaginable to destroy him, is because he's for the people and for freedom. And corrupt government dictatorships, and don't make no mistake, this is a dictatorship. It's a veiled dictatorship, but a dictatorship nonetheless. The person who's the president of the United States was not elected. That's a dictatorship.
Yeah, no shit.
So they dictators don't want the people they don't want to give back the people their voice, their vote.
Well, I mean, as far as trying to dig up dirt and go after people for things, Trump at this point has to be the most vetted human being like on the planet, at least in American.
Probably ever.
So, yeah, seriously, like there's not one aspect of his life that they haven't probed or looked into. So if he was a murderer, if he'd been a thief and skimmed the money or did stuff like that, they would have got him on all that stuff, and they haven't. They don't got anything on him. Even these bullshit charges, they're weak as hell. So yeah, Trump has to be the most vetted. So and by default has to be the most trusted person to run for president. And I think that's why a lot of people are changing like I did and going for him. Because they're seeing, like, we've never trusted these politicians that ran for president. They've always been shady. That's just kind of how it is. But when you got a guy that's being investigated by these people that we don't trust, and this is the best they got, that must mean that this guy don't got shit. He's really lived a good life, like an honest life for the most part. As far as,
right.
Being as slimy as the rest of them are.
It's ironic because the murdering, thieving, corrupt people are going after Trump, saying he's a murdering, thieving, corrupt. They're not saying he's murdering, but you get the point. Everything that the government accuses Trump of,
yeah,
there's a psychological phenomenon called projection. They are projecting what they are onto him. Everything they accuse him of is what they actually are.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton's been going around doing exactly that. She keeps saying, "Oh, it's going to be the end of democracy if he comes in. Like he's gonna go after his political enemies," and and everybody's like, "What the hell are you talking about? That's what fucking you guys are doing right now."
And they're projecting what they really are. They want the end of democracy. They've already achieved the end of democracy, but Trump now is starting to revive it, and so they're the ones that don't want democracy back. Like I don't know if you saw just recently. Nancy Pelosi was in England and she did they were talking about populism, and Winston Marshall handed her ass.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't see that video. Like, I thought about it afterwards. I wanted to find it. What was it about?
You gotta watch. It was about populism, and she's saying
But
populism.
it was like a debate. Who were those people?
Yeah. I don't know. It's like it's in England, so it's like I don't know if it's a House of Commons or what it is, but it's a bunch of really bright people who are having a debate
Yeah,
over populism, and um, you know, Nancy Pelosi says populism is bad, and it's a threat to democracy. Now, populism is
yep,
just the voice of the people,
yeah.
right?
Remember we talked about
And,
that?
yeah,
I was asking about
and
that. Yeah,
and
why
so
they're
this
so against it? But yeah, go ahead.
well because they don't want democracy, and they're trying to turn words that are democratic into fascist.
Yeah,
They literally spin everything, like, try to turn a positive into a negative, because they're dictators and they love their power and their money. So she's arguing that populism's bad, and she call it like neo populism or neo ethno populism, which are nationalist, right? So they created nationalist and neo ethno populism. So it's basically what they're saying is if you're Polish, and Poland's mostly white, so if you believe in nationalism in your country, and you're mostly white, well then you're racist. Well, then Mexicans are racist. Then Africans are racist, right?
hmm,
Right. So everybody's racist because they believe in their own culture, in their own nation.
yeah,
It's not racist at all. It's just that's your culture. That so and then this guy came up and he started talking about Winston Marshall, talking about populism and saying populism is a good thing because it's the voice of the people,
yeah,
right? You let the people decide. And he said, and Trump should have accepted the results of the 2020 election. He should have, and I disagree with that because it was rigged. But
hmm,
he makes a point. He goes, just like um, Nancy Pelosi should have accepted the election in 2016, but she called it, quote, hijacked.
yeah,
And then Nancy Pelosi sitting there and she's like, yes, it was hijacked. He goes, see, but we accept the results. How can you accept the results and call it hijacked? That's a contradiction in terms. See how they just lie these stupid lies, and they get away with it because they control everything. There's no one to actually hold them to account. Trump is the only one, so we got to get rid of the one who is holding us to account. But she's going to say the 2016 election's hijacked. I accept the results, but now we gotta throw Trump in jail because he didn't accept the election results in 2020. Well, you didn't accept them in 2016, and along with Hillary Clinton and a litany of other people who are deep state actors didn't accept that election. So what is the difference? The difference is we're dictators. He's not.
yeah.
That's it.
I just don't get how they think everybody's so stupid. They're not gonna. I mean, everybody's paying attention now. So why do they think they could just keep getting away with it? Like
Because they have the power.
I know, but it's obvious to a lot of people. You know what I
Because
mean?
what can you do about it? That's their point. Is like we'll be bold about this stuff because we'll lie to you, we'll cheat you, we'll steal elections, we'll put dictatorships in covertly, and even if you know about it, so what? What are you going to do about it? You
yeah,
don't have any power. We have all the power, and that's their position. They're super bold and confident because there's no one to investigate them.
yeah,
Who are you going to get to investigate Nancy Pelosi for stock trading illegally and becoming a making hundreds of millions of dollars as a congresswoman? You're right. She's obviously corrupt, but who's going to investigate her? The FBI? Nope, corrupt. CIA? Nope, corrupt. DOJ? Nope, corrupt. Attorney General? Nope, corrupt. All the people who would do the investigation are on their payroll. So there's no one to hold them to account. And Trump is the only one who's actually voicing this. So there's other people voicing it, but Trump's the only one that has the backing from the people to actually take back power. So he's enemy number one by far.
yeah. Well, yeah, most of the stuff right here. Well, you got a bunch of congressmen that keep going to Trump's trial, to try to support him finally after all this. I don't know if you saw yesterday. Vivek was
Yeah,
there.
I don't know where they've been all along, but
Yeah,
finally.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was telling my chick, man. Like they're barely coming around to try to support him off these stupid trials. But I guess it's still working out. I mean, they're showing support. Let me see what
Stormy
else.
Daniels, she was on the Late Show, one of the late shows, late night
Recent.
TV shows. I don't remember who. Stormy Daniels, and
Yeah.
several years ago, and the host asked her, "Why did you have sex with Trump?" And she's like, I don't know. It just happened. And he goes, she was like, "It's not like I was coerced,
Oh yeah.
or I was
That was,
forced to.
that was Bill
It was
Maher.
consent. It was a consensual thing, and all this stuff, right?"
Yeah.
Then the government gets to her, and now she's on the stand saying, "Well, he was in the way of the door. He was bigger than me." She's trying to put out these Me Too bullshit movement
Yeah.
ideas that somehow he,
Yeah.
because he's a man and he's bigger, he forced me into it, sort of, right?
Yeah.
So her whole story changes, and the government's like, it doesn't matter that she completely contradicted and perjured herself on the stand,
Yeah. No shit.
because the rules don't apply when you are against our political opponent. You can lie, you can do whatever you want as long as you're on our side.
Yeah. Well, now it's coming out that possibly Michael Cohen, that he was so pissed off that Trump didn't bring him into the, or wasn't gonna
White
bring
House.
him into the White House, that he might have been the one that was having an affair with Stormy, and they both came up with this plot to extort Trump. Stormy's lawyer is insinuating all this shit, Michael Avenatti. And it makes sense, man, that they would do something like that. It would make sense with that letter she signed, where that claiming that nothing ever happened. They're saying that Michael Cohen he paid her off with his own money, but he kept it all secret from his wife. And then when he got the money back, like all kinds of shady shit was going on, which makes it seem like it might be possible that nothing really happened. Nothing happened between Trump and her, and it was just the letter she signed
Well, whether
was
it did
that
or
letter she
whether
signed
it
was
did or
truth.
didn't, it's not illegal.
Well,
I had sex with a porn star, so what?
well,
That's if that's illegal. All these people who are prosecuting him and accusing him should all be in jail.
no,
Like, they've all done this. Everything they accuse him of, they've done. NDAs, paying hush money, they all do that. Having sex with outside of marriage with porn stars or affairs or whatever, they all do that, right?
yeah,
It's everything they accuse him of. Not accepting election results, they've all done that,
yeah, no shit.
right? So selling something and making a profit, they all do that, right?
No,
It's like, these aren't crimes, and if they are, the people who are accusing him are accusing themselves. So it has nothing, and this is where we get caught up in the getting caught in the trap of like looking at these little details of these cases and whatever, because that's what they want you to focus in on and not look at the big picture. And the big picture is the government's corrupt. They control the DOJ, and so there's no one going to investigate or prosecute them, and they can investigate and prosecute anybody for non-crimes. I mean, it's blatant election interference. The Democrats and the people in charge right now are blatantly interfering in an American election. They do not want the American people to vote. That's why you have millions of people coming across the border. That's one reason,
yeah,
right? We can't win American elections. We don't really want to have to rig them, right? Because it's a little bit harder. We might get caught. But if we get caught, we're still fine because the DOJ can do it. But it's a little embarrassing. So we'll just bring in non-Americans to vote in American elections and win an election without Americans.
yeah.
It's yeah, it's super obvious what's going on.
Well, this shit might explain what you're talking about. What your overall thesis is, that it really is just a battle between good and evil. Do you see
It
this
is.
this portrait right here? I keep seeing this of
I
Prince
can't see
Charles.
that.
I guess he unveiled it.
Oh, I did see it. Yeah, the
So
devil. It's like,
so what they're doing is that they if you put it side by side,
yeah, it makes the devil.
yeah, but pretty. It
Well,
looks
even if you don't put it side by side, the portrait itself is like,
yeah,
what are we looking at? It
yeah,
looks
no shit.
evil. It looks evil on its own.
Fuck yeah, it does. It looks like
I mean, so
that image from Ghostbusters too. That fucking Vigor
yeah,
or whatever the hell his name is.
so yeah, ultimately that's what it is coming down to, or that's not. It's always been is God and Satan basically well, Satan's basically in control of the earth, and that's in the Bible. But God does play a hand in it, and he can come. He can step in anytime he wants. But it's all written how it's going to play out. So God has his timing. But yeah, that's what's going on. Is you have forces of good and evil fighting it out on a spiritual level, and we as physical beings are just pawns in the game.
Another one right here. I don't know how you
I mean,
feel.
we're also spiritual too. We have our own spirit, but we're also trapped in our physical body. So we have that dual thing going on. Whereas what's going on really is just spiritual, you know, angels and demons.
Yeah. Here's another evil thing right here, man. I don't know how you feel about the chemtrail conspiracy. You believe in those?
I mean, I've heard stuff about that for years. I know they do chemtrails for sure. For they'll put out little pieces of aluminum in the sky to try to make it rain,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and I
cloud
believe they
seeding.
have had some success with that from what I've saw. Now, if they're chemtrailing to try to mind control people and things like that, I can't say definitively they're doing that. And I would have said no, but because our government is so corrupt and it's so obvious now, I wouldn't put anything past them. If I'll put it this way, if they could put up planes with chemtrails that would mind control everybody into being basically zombies or robots and doing what they want,
Yeah.
controlling them, they would do it. They wouldn't even think twice because they're on that spiritual side of evil, and right and wrong does not apply. So all they care about is money, control, power. And so if they can get that with chemtrails, yeah, for sure they would do it. They would definitely do it.
Well, you see the video right here? Can you see
I
that?
can't see it, but
Oh, you can't see it? Oh, crap. Yeah, it's basically somebody recorded. I don't know where it's at. Oh, it's in England. Yeah, the whole sky is just full of these lines every direction. I've been following this since like mid 2000s. I remember when I first learned about this, I was like ignoring it when I kept seeing people post stuff about it. This is like on MySpace in those days back then. And,
wow.
and, and I was like into all these conspiracies and stuff like that. And then when I saw this one start coming out, and I was like, no way, man. If they're just literally just spraying us on top, like just in the sky, just spraying the skies and poisoning us that way, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, and people are in denial; they're not even believing it. But I was like, it's
Yeah,
over. So I
but
remember I just kind of gave up back then. I was like, it's the
you got to
game. Dude.
figure, okay, so if they are doing chemtrails, what's in them?
Well, they
What is
well
the
they have a
result
theory.
that they
No,
have to
it's
do?
actually a lot of stuff is documented. They've been posting stuff that actually Bill Gates is behind a lot of it, and what they're thinking is that it's supposed to be for climate change, according to them. But I'm pretty sure it has multiple purposes. So what they're claiming is that they're doing this, and the spray has barium in it, these metal particles, and
Oh, barium.
what it does is basically they spray a single line, and over time the wind spreads it out. So over time you don't even know it was something that was sprayed. It looks like just like the sky is just cloudy, so it just spreads out. But what that does is it creates a layer of barium which reflects that metal reflects the sun. And so they're claiming that that's why they're doing it, but they're not telling anybody. And for years they've been saying, "Oh, that's not true. That's not true." But videos and pictures like this have been coming out for, like I said, man, since the mid 2000s and MySpace days. People have been posting stuff like this, and yeah, I used to record them all the time. I used to tell people at work about it. Nobody believed me. My own family didn't believe me. They thought I was crazy. Like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Those are just airplanes. I'm like, yeah, going in every single direction. Like, it doesn't work like that. But yeah, I guess and it's finally coming out. Like they're admitting that yeah, they've been doing stuff like that. But they don't.
Yeah, but what is the point of barium? I mean, what
Well,
putting barium out? What would that do to people?
yeah, that's what they're wondering. So if it's such small particles, it's coming down. We're for sure
Oh, it
breathing that
has.
stuff. Yeah, we're for sure breathing that. But it might come back to what you're saying. If they're trying to create zombies, yeah, if all that shit's collecting in our brain right now that we're breathing it,
So
who the
it
hell?
says here, I actually looked it up. It says in low doses, barium ions act as muscle stimulant. In higher doses, they affect the nervous system, causing cardiac irregularities, tremors, weakness, anxiety, shortness of breath, and paralysis.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard about barium that and them spraying it that they think that they're trying to weaken our immune systems. That over time, it's our immune systems just get weaker and weaker from constantly, obviously dealing with this chemical, whatever the hell it is.
So it'd be kind of like when someone tries to kill someone with like what's that?
Like
I
glass.
can't think.
The,
No, they put it. You put it in someone's drink, but you just put it in small doses so they get sick and over time. So it doesn't look like you poison them.
oh
It
yeah,
just looks like they died over time.
yeah.
And yeah, so if this causes nervous system problems and cardiac irregularities, anxiety and shortness of breath, yeah, you could do that over time, and it would just look like people were just dying of natural causes.
Yeah. So the only thing that
Oh, I was
gets
thinking cyanide. Cyanide. So people do that with cyanide. Like some murderers have done that, where they'll dose somebody they want to kill's drinks over a long period of time with low doses, not lethal doses, but enough to make them sick,
yeah.
and then they just up the dose a little bit to make them sicker, and eventually the cyanide kills them. But it looks like a long-standing illness that killed them.
Uh, yeah. I mean, well, shit. At this point, it's been over 20 years, so we've been breathing it for 20 years. So
Yeah,
that
and I can't say that they're not doing that. Like I said, if they could, if that was, everything's on the table when you don't have right and wrong,
no,
and all you're concerned about is money and power and your conscience, and none of that comes into play.
yeah,
And that's how it is for the rich and powerful. Not all of them, but the ones who are doing these evil things, they have no problem with that. So they would definitely do that. And if I would say, just top of my head, if they're doing that, it's they want to do a population um, reduction.
yeah,
And the reason for that would be because of AI. Now you got AI coming into the picture. AI is going to be doing a lot of the work that
yeah,
humans would otherwise do with robotics and AI computer systems. So you're going to need less labor. And if you need less labor, then you reduce the population. But you do it in a covert way like that. And then you get less people, and you have more money, more power, and more of the earth to enjoy yourself.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
and they would totally do that if I told Pelosi, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is going to be the result. You're going to have more money, more power, you and your family, and whatever, and we're just going to kill a billion people on Earth over a period of time, and no one will be able to know what it was. She would be like, "Where do I sign?
yeah.
Are
No
you?
shit.
Actually, I'm not going to sign because But yeah, let me just prick my finger with a little blood and put it on there.
Yeah, no shit, man.
Yeah, they would definitely do that.
That's been going on forever, but it's just coming out a little bit more officially that who's behind it. I don't know. You can't see the video, but there's like a news reporter. She was did a report around one of the planes that spray that stuff.
And so but the problem you have there, is, so if they're spraying that there, what keeps the people that are spraying it and ordering these things to be sprayed from also breathing it in, unless they have like an antidote or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That's what I've always thought. Like, how the hell are they getting away from it? Unless they're just out of the country most of the damn time. Who the hell knows? We can't keep track of
Yeah,
all
I,
them.
I, I don't think that would be a possibility. You would have to move a lot of people,
Yeah,
and it would be kind of weird. Like, oh, the entire royal family, or maybe you just stay indoor with some sort of filtration system for a couple of days.
yeah,
I mean, it's possible that they could do that and not inhale it, or they would have some sort of antidote. I don't know.
yeah,
Barium's not a naturally occurring product; that's a chemical compound. So um, they might have a way to counteract the effects by ingesting something else. I don't know. I'm just complete speculation there.
yeah,
But I would say if all those things were in play, then yeah, they would definitely do that, right? Why wouldn't they? These people do not care. They have zero. Like, it's funny. Like I say, it's like, if you listen to Pelosi and Schumer and Biden and all these people in government right now, they'll talk about AOC and the squad. Oh, these people coming across the border, they're just here for better life, and we need to give them humanitarian aid. And how dare you keep them in a cage, or all this stuff? These people would kill them if it
no,
gave them more money and power. They don't give a crap, right? And people buy this stuff. You're telling me that these rich, powerful people care about the poor person in Guatemala coming across the border? They are just a tool to be used to maintain their power. Now, they need them alive to vote, but if they never didn't need them alive, the point is they don't care about their lives, period. They could live or die, whatever. And people believing this stuff, you get people think with their emotions on this one. Like, oh, we gotta be concerned about these people, right? But the people who are telling you to be concerned about them aren't concerned about them,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's not wrong to be concerned about them. That's the right attitude to have, right? We should be concerned about all human beings, period. But we can't just open the borders up and let millions of people in and crush our system. It'll break down and decide who our leaders are going to be. It's just stupid. But being concerned about them is fine. But they're pulling your emotional strings in order to get money and power out of it and out of you. You're actually funding the people who are evil by doing that. You're actually buying into their nonsense because they don't care. There's no way Pelosi gives a crap about Juan coming across the border.
Yeah.
Like, do you think she really sits in her mansion with all her power and money thinking about the poor Guatemalan or the poor uh, Chilean or Argentinian or Mexican? She, she, I mean, it's laughable that someone actually believes that.
Yeah. No shit.
Now, there are people who do care, and the people that they get all revved up and emotional about it, those people really do care. But the problem they run into is they think completely with emotion and they dismiss logic. You need both those things together in a nice balance. You need to think about things logically and with the emotion being like, hey, what's the right thing to do? And logically, how will it work out? Right?
Yeah.
So have a logical idea of how we can help people without hurting other people. Right now, you're not you're supposedly helping people, but you're hurting way more.
Yeah.
Where's the emotion there, right? Well, it becomes this big mess of emotion and logic's thrown out the window.
Yeah. No shit, man. Yeah. It's just a lot of craziness, man, going on right now, and it seems like it's all building up to this election. It all comes down to that. Because after that, yeah, they just know a lot of people are awake now for sure. A lot of people see their bullshit and see how they work.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to rig this election. If they can't get rid of Trump before the election, they have to rig it. And I would say this is how they're going to rig it is Biden steps down. Biden, a couple months out says, you know what, I got health issues, or you know what, I've served long enough and it's time for me to spend my final days with my family. It's been a
Hmm.
great honor serving the country for my whole life. All that nonsense that he doesn't care about. It's
Yeah.
just words. Kamala Harris becomes the first female vice president or first female president ever. And Democrats can claim that, even though no one voted for her.
Yeah.
And then they probably are going to run someone like Gavin Newsom at the
Yeah.
last minute, and then Gavin Newsom against Trump. Now people have a different choice. Hey, wait, maybe we don't have to have one of those, right? Trump's still going to have a stupid strong following, so I don't know how that'll play out. But that's one way. That's sort of a rigging, because Joe Biden's only going to step down because they're telling him to do so. And if
Yeah.
he doesn't, then they'll expose him for all his corruption with Russia and China and Ukraine and Romania, where he took millions and millions of dollars,
Yeah.
amongst other things that are out there, but no one's going to prosecute him because they have control of all that. But that's one way to rig it. If they don't, and if Biden does stay in, which is possible, but I don't think so, then he can't beat Trump. There's no way now. He's lost. He's lost. The youth. He's lost the black vote, and the Mexican vote or Latino vote is coming his way in
Yeah.
huge numbers.
Yep.
So he can't win on numbers alone. So they would have to rig it at that point, and they're going to have to rig it somehow to maintain their power. And these people don't give up power. So be 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 awake, pay attention, because it's not going to be a normal election. As well as you're going to have, that's what all the Palestinian Israeli protests are. These are attempts to rig the election to keep you distracted on one thing while they're stuffing ballot boxes. They're going to ramp this up. It's going to get worse and worse as the election nears. And now they've made it not just an American thing, they've made it a worldwide thing. And these are paid protesters out of companies like Crowds on Demand, where you can go to their website and they tell you, we will provide you with paid protesters. And these guys get about $500 a day. They get a bunch of them, they give them their money, and then they give them extra money. They put them in a van, or multiple vans. They drive to these locations. This is what we're protesting. They don't even care what the the protest is about. It's just a job. Then they get there, and then the people who they get to come out and show up that are actually just emotionally driven, no logic behind it, then they also know they're going to get paid. And these people, when you're there, now they'll start handing you out some money while you're there. So you have paid protests orchestrated by billionaires and governments around the world, because this is a worldwide thing where you have the same tactics, the same slogans. The protests are basically identical all around the world. So it's not just about our election. It's now a worldwide thing where they're trying to seize power around the world. But our election is super important because the United States is the strongest beacon of freedom still hanging by a thread in the world, and it needs to. They need to have control of the United States in order to get their control of the world. But you can predict these protests every 4 years. 2016 protests, 2020 protests, 2024 protests, and they're all paid protesters. The same people who are protesting Trump, protesting Black Lives Matters, are protesting the Israelis. They're the same people. These are paid actors, and there's companies. There's literally companies who pay these people. They get paid to pay these people to go out and do this. And so the government is actually funding with your tax dollars people to go out and protest you.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to do an investigation into those paid protesters things. What the hell are crisis actors? I've always wondered when people started talking about that. I remember they used to do a lot of drills in the 2000s, like citywide drills. Like they block off a bunch of blocks of street blocks, and you remember those? I don't know if you ever heard about those
No,
back
I
then.
don't.
Yeah, they used to do drills of like protests and stuff like that. So I remember they would announce it, and then they wouldn't let nobody film in there, but they'd basically just be a drill of how they would deal with riots and stuff like that. But they would have needed people, so a crisis actor type of organization would definitely seem like it'd be used for something like that. And who the hell knows if they would just tell these people, "Hey, would you mind participating in real drills? Where you know it's fake, so you don't got to worry about, you know what I mean, like, you know, your morals being violated or anything like that. It's just a paycheck, and you just keep doing what you're doing." And
Yeah, well, the thing is too, though, is like these people who are doing these protests that are paid, for instance, the morals once again don't come into it. They're not like, hey, I'm a God-fearing, God-believing person who has a higher authority who dictates right and wrong. I dictate my own right and wrong,
yeah,
and if it's good for me, it's right, and that's it, right? So they're just out for themselves, and otherwise, because you couldn't pay me to go do a fake protest.
yeah,
It wouldn't happen, right? Because it's wrong, right? You're going out there undermining your own government, your own neighbors for financial gain.
yeah,
It's disgusting and should be illegal, and it is illegal. But once again, who's going to prosecute it?
yeah, no
You know,
shit.
they'll get the local police to wrap them up, right? Like all these protesters, lots of them got arrested. I guarantee you, the DOJ's up there up those police stations' butt, telling them, "No, you guys are going too far. This is a violation of their First Amendment, violation of this, violation of that. These are civil rights issues. If you start prosecuting the heck out of these guys, then we're gonna investigate you." And
Yeah,
that's how they do it,
yeah,
right? So these protesters also know, hey, we got the federal government, law enforcement behind us. So because the federal government is who's funding it.
yeah, no shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Along
definitely.
with billionaires like Soros and whoever else. We're never going to know all the players because they're, super rich and they're able to hide it well. They funnel it through multiple channels.
Well, whoever these people are, they have to obviously apply for it. So I'm pretty sure they have like a questionnaire, and they get the people with the right mentality that sell out, like you're saying, that basically have no morals and
Right.
are willing to do anything either for a paycheck or just for the fun of being anarchists.
Well,
You know,
imagine no, they're the ones that they're hiring are doing it for a paycheck because it's like $500 a day.
but it's
Five
fake
hundred dollars a
riot.
day.
You would think they would. Some of them would be bragging about it,
Oh,
but
they
nobody's.
probably have to sign. They probably have to sign an NDA.
Yeah, well, I mean,
In other
you
words,
think it would
in
slip
other
out at
words,
least at this point. It's been fuck how
in
many?
other words, hush money. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
that's illegal.
the money was right, I guess.
But $500 a day, if you did that 5 days a week, that's 2,500 a week. That's 10 grand a month. That's 120,000, or about what, 120 grand a year.
Shit.
If you did it year round,
Fuck, that's true, man. Yeah, yeah.
just go out there and say, hey, wait, what are we protesting again? Yeah, we don't like that. Wait, what was it? Yeah, that thing. Yeah, we don't like that. Next time around, it'll be something else. I'll be the same guy doing it, but I'll be protesting something else. It doesn't really matter what they tell me. That's what I'm paid to do.
Yeah, no shit. All right, so looking down, you can't see it, but I've been going through the whole timeline. Most of it is just about the trial right now. There's other little tiny things that are going on, but for the most part, that's the biggest news. Just his trial. Over the weekend, you saw he had like over almost 100,000 people came to see him in New Jersey. See Trump?
Yeah, yeah,
That is crazy, man.
yeah. I mean, the crowds he draws
But he
for
lost.
anybody who
Didn't
thinks
didn't he lose New
Biden won.
Jersey? And supposedly in 2020. So,
He probably did. I don't remember, but yeah, he probably did. Oh
yeah.
well, supposedly.
So now they're
But
saying that
yeah,
all the blue states are in play now. That's basically yeah, the polls see him going up like in a lot of the swing states, and so they're thinking that that's why Biden all of a sudden you heard he wants to debate him finally.
right. But he wants to debate him in a controlled
Yeah, yeah,
government run media, CNN, which
yep,
is absolute fake news.
yeah, no shit.
And if you doubt that, anybody listening doubts that, go on YouTube, watch just type in CNN producer reveals CNN's fake news because
Oh
he's on
yeah,
a date. He's on that fake date with is actually a reporter, and I guess he had too much to drink, and she was probably hot, and he started talking. And this is a producer for CNN, and he said our goal when Trump was in office was to get Trump out and get Biden in. That was our goal from the top, from Zucker, who's the head of CNN. That was our marching orders. That's what we all did. Any Biden story that was bad, we didn't air it or we downplayed it. Any Trump story that looked negative, or we would just create them. We ran the hell out of it, and the guy says, and I think we are really responsible. We are the ones that actually got Trump out, and he's very proud about that.
no shit.
So, and then he said, and he said, and our next thing is climate change, and we're going to use fear to push climate change to control people. This is from the producer of CNN. This isn't from somebody's conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
So all the people watching CNN, go watch that video, and then if you still want to watch CNN, then just realize you signed up to be lied to.
yeah,
Why would you watch someone who openly tells you I'm lying to you? Well, because I hate Trump and I'm so emotional and it's all about my emotions. Well, your emotions are going to steal your freedom away. Put some logic in there.
yeah.
Anyway, I get on that rant because it's so ridiculous that people would still watch that after they openly admit they're fake news. So they're going to have a debate on this news or propaganda station that openly admits that it's fake, and the moderators are going to be all corrupt, deep state, government hacks. The whole thing is just rigged. But Trump's not afraid of it because Trump has the people, and
Yeah.
they're not going to. There's nothing they can do to him that is going to change people's minds now. People are locked in.
Yeah, no shit. All right, so then
So that's why he's willing to do it.
say what? Sorry.
So that's why he's willing to go into go into CNN, and I think the other ones is at MS or ABC, which is
ABC.
also
But is it true
ABC.
about the details he wants? That he doesn't want any crowd in there. He doesn't. He wants the mics turned
Well,
off.
if there was a crowd in there, they're going to be all paid actors
Yeah, no shit.
for the deep state because it's their house.
Yeah. Nah, but
So
either
yeah, I
way.
wouldn't want anybody in there either because the less people, the less agitators and deep state actors you have being paid to try to undermine you in there.
Yeah.
But the moderators, as soon as Trump starts making a good point, they're going to cut him off. They're
Yep.
going to, oh, Mr. President, but
Yeah.
what about when you had sex with Stormy Daniels? Yeah, but she wanted to have sex. Well, that's not the point. The point is that we don't like you. You're standing in the way of our dictatorship, and so we think that you should be in trouble for that.
I think he'll be
That's
prepared.
their whole spiel.
Yeah. I think this time he'll be prepared. He'll know to be a little bit more tempered and just basically just speak clearly and not get angry and let try to get Biden to be the one that just flips out over any type of accusation. I think for sure he'll be
Yeah,
ready.
yeah.
He'll be ready this time
I
because
think he'll be more confident because, like I said, with the black vote swinging his way pretty hard, Latino vote. I mean, he's got the majority of Latinos, I think now, which
yeah,
is just like So it's ironic that they're letting all the Latinos across the border from South and Central America, and now they're like, well, we're voting for Trump.
yeah, no shit. Yeah,
Oops.
yeah,
Because they're, Latinos in general are Catholic, are they're believers, a lot of them. So they're not down for this evil.
yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of people are saying that that's kind of one of the reasons blacks and Latinos are kind of going for him now. They see him as obviously the a victim of the government things that
Political
we've
persecution.
yeah that we've been dealing with and stuff like that for forever now. For him to be one dealing with it, it makes him seem like more of a real person, like more relatable. So
Oh, yeah.
for sure, it's all backfiring. But all right, so then yeah, that's basically. I mean, from what I see in the timeline, that's like the biggest thing going on right now. There's other little tiny things, but we'll just uh we'll just go back to it next show. All right, then.
Okay.
So then let's go to the next segment, which is what would you do, Dan, if you were president of the United States, my brother? If everything
Yeah.
changed, if all of a sudden you were just called from work and said, "We need you, Dan." What are your positions
What would
on
I
these
do? What
things?
would I do in general overall?
No, no, no. Well, we're gonna be more specific, so
Oh,
I got questions for you.
oh,
Okay, so
that's a big question.
yeah, well, your overall world philosophy.
Yeah.
Restore change, restore all file. What the hell is this thing? I don't know what the hell this is. Okay, so then, like we've been talking about probably since the first show that we know I had a solution segment that I've been wanting to do. So I
Yeah.
I put together a bunch of topics. So they're just kind of random, like might not be complete. There might be some that aren't necessarily as relevant as others, but I think they're all pretty much important. I think. So
Okay.
instead of just putting out the category of the topic, I thought it might be fun to do it as if what would you do if you were president and ask these questions and obviously
Right. Have that real weight on your shoulders when you're
yeah.
answering.
So
I
say
got
you're
you.
being interviewed by CNN and they're waiting for you to slip up. It don't even got to be that. It could be
Yeah. Yeah. I
it could
get
be
you there.
freaking Fox. Just get your point of view out there. So I came up with these types of questions, and the questions are basically the topics that I had already sent you way back then. The big list that I sent you. So instead of just being just the topic, it's in a question format. So I think we'd already gone over the first one, but I rephrased it as what should the responsibility of the press be? So remember we talked about I think on the second episode, I had originally thought they need to bring back something like the fairness doctrine, to kind of just basically make the press a little bit more responsible. They just been doing so many spreading so many lies about not only Trump but COVID and laptops and all this bullshit that's coming out that it's all true, but they've been lying. And I've always thought they should be held accountable. So what's your idea? What do you think? How do you make the press be a little bit more responsible? Do you have any?
To me, like I'm a big believer in the Constitution. So you got a First Amendment right to lie, and sometimes you're going to believe what you're saying is true, and sometimes you're just lying. And I think the press is also has that right. So it's not so much of trying to control the press; it's more of just talking to the American people and explaining to them that you know it's important that you get the facts so you can make educated, informed decisions, and be aware that a lot of news organizations have an agenda. They have political backing from whatever side, that they become institutions of politics more than news. And some of the times they're going to tell you things that are true, sometimes they won't. But just be aware of that, and make sure you're getting, you're doing some more research. Don't just listen to one source. um, and even if you did listen to the one source of news, like multiple different channels, most of these channels are still the same source, because they're all being controlled by the same element. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News. For the most part, they're being controlled by the government. And so you're going to get government propaganda from there. And if you're wanting to get the truth, then you need to look elsewhere, right? You need to look to sources you trust,
Yeah.
and you need to find those out for yourself. And I would say it's hard to know who to trust. So I said before in another podcast, I would watch congressional hearings. That would be like probably the biggest thing. And I know most people don't want to do that, but
No.
like I said, on YouTube, you don't have to watch them live and listen to the entire um, boring part of it, because they put the good stuff on YouTube, and you can see your government in action on YouTube. You can see the two different sides arguing it out, and it gets pretty lively. And but the information's right there for you. They're going to lay it out, and you're going to watch how, when the truth comes out, the deep state side does everything they can to shut them. Excuse me, Mr. Speaker, I have a motion. They just try to interrupt and disjoint the whole conversation to keep the truth from getting out. Oh, I have a motion to censor that, or to block that
Yeah.
information from getting into the record, even though it's just the truth, because they don't want you to know this. But you'll still get it, because the other side's going to still say it. So you'll get that information there, but that information will not make it onto your news channel or your
Yeah.
propaganda channel. So as president, this is what I would tell people: is, unfortunately, journalism is no longer has integrity for the most part. It's propaganda for the state. Now, as president of the United States, I'm not for that, and not every politician is for that, but the majority are. And the deep state and billionaires who fund these politicians also control the media, and they have an agenda, and their agenda is money and power. Telling you the truth is contrary to that agenda.
Yeah.
So and then you can look at other sources too. You can get on the internet and just try to find as many sources as you can outside of the main propaganda news, to look at whatever issue you're concerned about. And you're going to hear all different sorts of ideas, but the more sources you look at, the clearer the idea will become to you of what's actually the truth.
Yeah.
But
So
if you
you
lock
so
into one source and you defend it, well, then they've got you.
yeah.
Like, I used to watch Fox News. I don't really watch it anymore because I think they've been corrupted. So it doesn't matter to me. I don't have loyalty to a news station or a politician or anything like that. When you do that, you become susceptible to propaganda.
Yeah. So then basically your approach is basically you put the responsibility on the viewer, on the
Yeah,
citizen, to inform
right.
themselves and don't get caught up. Yeah, I guess mine's a little
Yeah.
bit more hard. So as far as accountability though, I mean, do you think the current press and the people that have been doing damage and been misinforming the public should be held accountable for anything they've done, especially like
I mean,
COVID,
I would say
COVID, the
only if
fucking
you can prove damages, right? Like, somebody has to be hurt. If you can't prove damages, then no, you don't hold them accountable legally. But in my scenario, they are held accountable, because people aren't watching them anymore.
no,
They no longer have a job. Accountability done, right? No one's watching you, which means there's no advertisements on that channel. No advertisement on that channel means that channel goes out of business. Channel's out of business. Accountability's been taken care of. In
yeah,
other words, it's your choice to pay, because when you turn on the channel and listen to propaganda, you're paying for that propaganda to be spewed to you. If you shut it off, you've taken away the money from the propagandist.
I guess I just feel that they could be so much more useful, to get messages out, the correct message out there. But the fact that they're just being used, as you said, as just propaganda for one side only, and they're the propaganda is just all bad information, lies, and manipulation. I just feel something needs to be done about them. We can't just let them continue to keep doing that. So
Well, the thing is, like,
I would think breaking up a monopoly or whoever that owns these people, what they're probing them and finding out what their real agenda really is, and
but the thing is, we know what their agenda is, right? Their agenda. So what it comes down to is like everyone has this. They divide you right into color, sex, religion, and every other way they can divide. So they get us all divided up and arguing with each other. Meanwhile, and when I say them, I'm talking about the elites, because that's what it really comes down to. The news is nothing more than propaganda for the rich and powerful. That's what it is. You aren't rich and powerful. They aren't for you, right? So if you're mad at your neighbor who's also not rich and powerful because he's a different ethnicity, a different religion, a different anything, then they've won. That's exactly their goal. So stop fighting with your neighbor over freedoms that he should have, and he should stop fighting with you over freedoms you should have. You should have your freedom of religion. You should have your freedom of political difference. Those are all things we should agree on, that we should have our own opinions, and then we go and vote, and may the best candidate win by true and honest ballot counts.
yeah.
Right? But if you're fighting with each other, then they can manipulate the vote, and so it's the elites versus the regular people. That's really, if you see what it really is, and the media is being controlled by the elites. So that's basically what they're trying to do. Is actually, I lost my train of thought there.
Well, from what I could figure out, Fox News themselves, I think they are pushing the right agenda. Trump, all the policies. They're anti woke, they're anti sexualization of children in schools, they're anti drag queens, having book time with children, and anti whatever the COVID lie was. And then you got the other channels, CNN, MSNBC, ABC. They're still for that. So there really is two sides. Some of the hosts on Fox now, they were like the low level dumb hosts back in the 2000s when Sean
Yeah.
Hannity and Bill O'Reilly were there, and those guys were the strong voices of Fox and the Republicans, whatever. But right now they're the ones in charge, and they're actually more for Trump and more for those ideas. So what I'm saying is basically, so you got more as far as the press, you got more press, basically spreading more lies, on the airwaves, and then you have like Fox News basically trying to spread their truth and stuff like that. So to me, I just feel that needs to be controlled. It can't be so lopsided where it's only Fox trying to get this message out, and the rest of the news and the media they're saying they're on one side. COVID was real. The 2020 election was fair. Fucking Trump's being tried. It's fair. Like, these are fair charges against them. So I think something needs to be done. They need to be held a little bit more accountable, and something needs to happen. But that's just my
Right.
approach.
But there's
So
really
so I get your approach
to-
where you think the citizen himself, they need to inform themselves. They need to be a little bit more responsible with the information and research. But that's the point I was going to make real quick. I think MSNBC, CNN, even Fox News, I think they know that there's a large portion of the country that doesn't follow politics like the way me and you do, even though
Yep.
you know what I mean. So I think that's who they cater to. I think they know that, and so they do things in sound bites. It just sounds bad, and they convince somebody just off a sound bite real quick, and that's all they need to keep spreading over and over all day. And so I think that's why it's dangerous. Why I think something needs to be done about that. These corporations that have a monopoly on the news, they're obviously trying to push an agenda. So something needs to be done about that shit. And And to
But
tell you
the
the truth, a
question,
lot of these pundits, they're actually scared about it. They keep talking about if Trump comes back in, they think they're going to be out of a job or they're going to be arrested or something. They keep saying stuff like that. So they know something might be coming. So, or that
but the
something should,
problem is like arrested for what?
well, not arrested, but at least fired. Not arrested, but fired. You know what I mean? And
But fired for what? I mean, who's going to fire them?
for spreading lies and not actually correcting themselves. You know, like the
Well,
2020 election.
that would be good, and that's fine if you had the owner of the news corporation saying, yeah, we're not going to have journalists who lie. But that's not going to happen because once again, these are the elites. The elites aren't going to fire the people who are doing their bidding.
But
So
if
I
they
would
change
say,
policies, like say for example, like I keep saying the fairness, is it the fairness doctrine? I keep thinking of
yeah, the fairness
I
doctrine.
keep thinking of the Monroe doctrine, the fairness doctrine. Yeah, I think that kept everything kind of neutral. You know what I mean? If the news agencies were forced to at the risk of losing their broadcast license, if they were forced to hire people which had both sides and they are allowed to express both sides equally and fairly, I think that would level everything out. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be so lopsided. You wouldn't have such misinformation out there. So I guess that that would be my approach, I guess. But
I mean, I kind of like that idea of um, having you're going to have both sides on there. I like the idea better of news just being news and editorial being
yeah,
editorial.
I
News
think
is full on just editorial and it's one sided. So if you had both sides on there in equal amount, then
yeah,
yeah.
wow,
But I'm always worried about trying to tell. When you say the government's going to tell the news how to operate, that's
yeah,
a scary proposition,
yeah. I know.
right?
Well,
You
it's
see,
just crucial right now.
you see where how bad that could go quickly.
No, but think about it. Think about the other side.
I
We've
mean, they
let
are already telling them how to do it, but they're not doing it openly.
the from what I'd seen, what I read, the fairness doctrine, they took it away like in the late '80s. So I guess right after that, that's when Rush Limbaugh and Fox News, more than anything, came out and they were able to just start spreading just the one side of politics. So what has happened since that thing went away in the '90s? I mean, fuck. I guess there was nothing too controversial. I mean, Clinton, Monica Lewinsky, nothing with Bush. The wars, what wars happened under Clinton? Kosovo. I don't know anything that was really lied about or suppressed. Maybe Waco. I don't know. Waco maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you get into the 2000s, obviously 9/11, that was the biggest one. That was their biggest challenge. And to see how all of a sudden the removal of the fairness doctrine was really going to be utilized. And they did it. They fucking did it to death with 9/11. You know, the press was all completely for the war, and they didn't question shit that Bush and Cheney were doing. They weren't questioning. They were just, if you're against anything with the war, you're against. You weren't a patriot. You know what I mean? That was a slogan they used to use all the time. So to me, I don't think it's gone good without something like that. So I get what you're saying as far as the government stepping in, but fuck, we've let them run amok, let them run wild with it, and now they've run amok. They're just lying left and right. They've never apologized for 9/11. Now you know what I mean. Under Obama, they gave him a pass on all the drone program, and then fuck, there we go. Once you got Trump in there, they just full they went on full fucking lie mode, just lying left and right, and being used by the Democrats, as a 100% number one tool for what they're trying to do. So I think something has to be done, even on a government level. Obviously, not something to suppress information, but to be able to force them to tell both sides. So that's why I guess that's my approach. But I get your
I mean,
approach. People need to stop being such freaking zombies and fucking sticking to sports and fucking sticking to whatever the hell it is and not paying attention to the issues and shit, man. But that's just
well, there's nothing wrong with sticking to sports and all that stuff because the people who are getting this misinformation right now, they're watching sports. but they're also getting this misinformation. So they're getting it somehow, right? They're turning on the news, they're hearing sound bites. So, like I've always said, you don't have to change your routine. You just have to change where you're getting your information from for whatever amount of time you've been doing it before. So the time you spend on it doesn't have to change. You just have to change the source. I don't have a I'm inclined to agree with you on um, um, maybe on the government, on the fairness doctrine. I like the idea of having both sides on there. I don't know
Something like that. Something along
how
those
to
lines.
make that work out where you can keep corruption out of it, because government and press together is always dicey.
Hmm.
But I'll get back to real quick on what I was saying about other sources. So the other sources I'm talking about isn't just congressional hearings. You have news outside of the United States, like Sky News, Australia. There's different news sources that are way more credible. They're going to give you more uh, truthful
Yeah.
news about the United States and world events. So there's lots of different sources there. There's investigative journalists on online,
Yeah.
on all the different platforms, and you can go and look at them. And my point is to go look at a bunch of them
Yeah.
and listen to what they have to say and think for yourself and use logic and not so much emotion, right?
Yeah.
And try to figure out, hey, who's really making sense here? Who's telling me the truth? And then double check their facts, right? And then you'll start finding some sources that, hey, you can trust, right?
Yeah.
The ABC, NBC, and CBS are not the only um, news in town, right? It's a big world. The whole world has news agencies, and the internet is full of people, that are reporting news on different places around the world, including the United States. And some of them are bullcrap, and some of them are good, and some in the middle. So you go find some news sources other than the ones are lying to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that will hold them accountable. If they lose massive millions of viewers, they go out of business. The
Yeah.
accountability has been served, right? They no longer have a platform to spread their lies if they don't have anybody watching them.
Yeah.
So they'll do one of two things: they'll go out of business, or they'll start telling the truth.
Yeah. Well,
And that,
actually,
I think
what you're
that's a
saying,
really good way to do it.
no, what you're saying is actually already happening. Elon Musk. I mean, Twitter's kind of that. What you're saying, like Twitter, really is a good source of actual good information. And
Right, there's a good source for you.
yeah, he's been posting a lot of like fucking ratings, and it's showing that yeah, mainstream media is going down. Like it's fucking, they're losing all their ratings, all their credibility is really being shot. Like every other day, he posted how they're just yeah, they're losing whatever how the strategy was. So what you're saying is pretty much already happening. Their credibility is already pretty much gone. Um,
Right. I mean, I put to like people like this is like, if you have someone in your life, a friend, a coworker, somebody that somebody's a friend of a friend, whatever, and you know that this person just constantly lies.
yeah,
Are you going to go sit there and have conversations with that person?
exactly. Yeah,
You're not going to, but you'll turn on the TV and listen to the people on there that lie to you all the time.
yeah, no
And
shit.
it's because of emotional tugs.
Yeah,
Well, I think they're on my side, so it's okay if they lie because we're getting what we want.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
it's not okay because these people are going to eventually turn on you too. They don't have a moral compass. They're liars. They're cheats. They're
yeah,
not. They don't. They're not on your side. Liars and cheats aren't on anybody's side but their own.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it will change. Right? That they're on your side for the moment,
yeah.
but how long?
Okay,
Right? So anyway,
no
that's
shit.
what I would do with the press.
Okay,
Is
yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, it's true. I mean, people need to be responsible for themselves and informing themselves. So I'm with you on that. That is true. But I think both combined. So your idea and
I,
my
I
idea, I
I
think,
agree. Yeah,
would be
putting both sides on the news. Like if you can work out a way to do that and keep the corruption out, then yeah, I agree with that. I kind of like that idea.
all right, cool. Okay, so the next one we got right here, the second one, voting. So obviously, I 100% believe the 2020 election was stolen for sure. However, how they did it, it's a complicated thing. But uh, how would you deal with the voting fraud issue? Basic, you think voter ID is basically the number one way to protect it?
Well, I mean, if you want real sound elections, yeah, you have to have voter ID, of course. People are like, oh, that's racist. Well,
Yeah,
then
That's
then your driver's license is racist. I mean,
yeah,
right? Like, I mean, the cop pulls you over and asks you for your driver's license. Well, that's racist. I mean,
yeah.
it's just stupid. Once again, it's a bullshit argument that they use to try to win elections. But yeah, you need voter ID, and if you want a true and fair election, you got to get rid of the mail-in ballots. You got to have voter ID. You have to show up to your polling place. There has to be representatives of both sides there all the time counting, which
Yeah.
didn't happen in 2020, and that's how they did steal it. Was they kicked out the election, um, the people who were there to monitor the elections. The election monitors were kicked out, and then they started counting ballots on video.
Yeah, no shit.
And the FBI said, "Well, no, they did nothing wrong." Well, the fact that they're counting videos after they kicked out the election monitors is illegal. It's a federal crime. And that Federal Bureau of Investigation says, no, nothing to see here because they're corrupt and their guy won because of the interference. So that's really, it's kind of really just that simple. You get rid of the mail-in ballots. You have to have voter ID. You have to
So
be registered, and you have to go to your polling place. And if you're not an American citizen, guess what? You can't vote in America.
yeah, no shit.
You can vote in whatever country you're a citizen of, just like I can't vote in a different country's election.
Yeah,
If I went to a different country and said, hey, I'm here to vote for the president of Argentina, they're going to be like, well, are you Argentinian? No, but if you don't let me vote, you're racist. And I shouldn't have to have ID. I should be able to vote multiple times.
yeah,
And
no
if
shit.
you don't do that, you're racist. Right? You know
Right.
what they would do to me? Get your ass out of here. You know what I mean? They'd probably deport me right there.
Yeah,
But in America, there's a lot of people who get caught up in their emotions and say, yep, makes sense to me because then my side will win. Well, your side is corrupt and lying. And if you think corrupt liars are going to stay on your side, you're stupid.
yeah. Okay, so then yeah, we both agree on this one. So it has to be voter ID and get rid of mail-in ballots for sure. Those two things right there would
You don't
increase
have
the
anything to add to that?
what's that?
You had any other ideas on that?
No, that was basically what I'd come up with from what I remember. Should I have to look at my
Yeah,
notes?
that one's not a complicated one, right?
Yeah, for starters, yeah, I think I'd put on the notes that I'd sent you. I'd put how Canada does they have voter ID and how they do theirs. And yeah, I was reading it and I was like, fuck, this makes perfect sense. Like there's no way fraud can occur from this type of shit. Like they have
Right.
a good voter ID system. So that's what I had thought. But then real quick, I was thinking what you had said as far as being like them kicking out the counters and then counting when they left and it being on camera and the FBI saying it was okay. That right there should be a big fucking news story. But so it comes back to the press. They just
Right.
don't say shit. They're controlled. The owners of the news agencies, they tell them don't talk about this. That's it. Just let it
Yep.
go. So that's where it comes back to the press.
I mean,
That's
even
why
if
the
those,
no, go ahead,
go
go ahead.
ahead. I was just going to say real quick, even if those ballots were legitimate, which they probably weren't, but even if they were legitimate ballots, it's still a federal offense to do what they did.
Yeah, yeah, but it should be looked into. There's definitely a lot of
They looked
suspicion.
into it and said nothing to see here. Our side won.
Yeah. Okay, so I think yeah, we're agreeing in agreement for sure on that one. It's voter ID and get rid of mail-in ballots. So the third one, how do we finally? This is the big one. How do we finally resolve the immigration issue? Basically, I looked at
Yeah.
it. I looked at it from two perspectives. Obviously, we have immigration to California, which a lot of people feel is draining. Financially draining the country. Amongst other things, they're people think they're taking jobs, but then I also looked at it from the other point of emigration from those countries. That it's not I don't think it's as simple as just saying, oh, just kick them all out, just get them out of here. Then they got to go there in the right way. They got to apply to try to get in the country. I think we need to look at what the how the underlying issue is, why these people are leaving their own country. So I was thinking, well, let me ask you what your question is first. I've given you mine in those notes I've given you.
Well, immigration. So there's a lot there.
Yeah, and that's a big
First
one.
of all, first of all, you got to look at why the government is allowing illegal immigrants to come into the country in the millions.
and that's simply for votes to
Yeah.
win elections, um, without having to. This is just another way to rig elections in their favor, is what they're thinking, like, right? Because the Republican side, well, they're a bunch of white rich racists,
Yeah.
even though all the corporations support us, all the billionaires support us, but they're the rich racists, right?
Yeah.
So they figured that these people are going to vote for them. It's starting to backfire on them, but that's the reason they're doing it. So first of all, the government's allowing this to happen because they're trying to rig elections. So you have a big problem there. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well,
how to fix that is you gotta get a new government, because if you don't, or when these people start switching sides and voting the other way, which they're starting to do, and it's going to be funny if this continues on. And you got Latinos. I believe Trump is at about 50% Latino vote right now, which is unheard of
yeah.
for a Republican. And so now that puts the Democrats in the ones allowing everyone to come in here in a real weird position. And so now, if that starts to flip over 50%, they're going to be the Democrats, the ones who care about the plight of the immigrant, are going to be like, build a wall. If they get over, put them in cages. You got to deport their ass back, right?
Yeah.
Because they are no longer going to help them. They now hurt them, and all their fake morality over the plight of these people will be exposed for what it really is.
Yeah.
They
Oh yeah.
never cared about them. But in order to secure the border, okay, let's say the government we get a legitimate government, and then how would you secure the border, and what would you do about the ones that are here? Obviously, you just secure it, right? You just actually enforce the laws that we have, and it's secured.
Yeah.
You're still going to get people that can sneak through, but it would be almost very few.
Yeah.
Um, and the people that are here now that aren't American citizens, I don't know. To me, if I was the president, what I would do is I would just find the ones who were bad actors, like full on, like if they're you know uh, trafficking drugs or trafficking children and things like that. I
Whoever's
would get
breaking the
rid.
law. Mhm.
Like well, they broke the law to get here, so they've all broken the law. But I'm talking about felony kind of stuff. If they've done really bad things before they got here and have like a felony record in their home country where they were sexually abusing children, or
Yeah.
you know violently hurting people, things like that, those ones I want to get out. But that's going to be the minority of them. But if they're reasonably decent people who don't have much of a criminal record, if any, then those people that are already here, for the most part, I would say, okay, we shut the border down. We get these guys on a path to citizenship. We can go ahead and accept them into our country, and but it ends there, because I'm not against having people here. I don't like that they came here illegally, but I think it's kind of a crazy notion to say. I don't know how many are even here now. Is it 20, 30 million?
Yeah. Around there. They think over the 4
So what are
years.
you going to go round up 20, 30 million? You're going to look like the Gestapo. And it would kind of feel like that too, right?
Yeah.
Because there
Yeah.
are a lot of good people who came here. They came here illegally, but at the same time, we've all done some things that aren't perfect either. So should we be able to stay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say it's right that they're here, but deporting them would be, I think it would get to the point of inhumane.
Yeah. No,
And
I get. Yeah.
it would be better to take the good people that are here, even though they came here illegally. I get it. If I was in those countries, I'd want to come here too. Now, we shouldn't have allowed it at this numbers, but they did get here, and they're good people. So we can make them citizens, and they can go ahead and live good, honest lives here, and be um, productive members of the country instead of a negative.
Mhm.
So that's how I would kind of deal with it: is accept what's here as far as the good, use them as American citizens, and let them assimilate into and be productive citizens, go get jobs or whatever, families, etc., just like everybody else. And then the ones who are here that are bad, if you're suspected of terrorism, all these other terrible things, you're out of here.
Man. So you're going. Yeah. Your position is actually controversial, Dan.
I
Mr. President.
I know it is, but
You want to make them citizens?
well, I mean,
No, I mean I get what you're saying. You have to. I mean, you're showing
what's the
empathy.
alternative?
You're showing empathy for whatever they're going through. Obviously, they came here because they were struggling wherever
Look,
they're at,
I
and
would
if
put it to you like this. This is how I would put it to you. Like, if we can maintain all these people here without it causing a problem to our country, the good people. They
Yeah.
came here illegally. If they're not going to be a problem and a burden on our country, that's um, more of an overwhelming sort of burden. As long as we can incorporate them into our society in a reasonable way, that's not going to really have a damage or too much of a damaging effect on our society, but it's going to be actually a positive effect on our society. Then why not keep them?
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they're bad people, right? Now, the problem you have there is that would kind of encourage other people to come here and say, yeah, I want to come here. But no, but you need to really shut the border down, you know put whatever you need there to shut it down. It's not happening again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the people who are here, you got to have some empathy. You got to have some human kindness in there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to hurt the people who are already here by keeping them. So if it was too overwhelming to society, then yeah, they can't all stay. But I think that we're fine with what's here. We could deal with it in a positive way. Um, and I may be controversial, but I think that shows to both sides of the issue that there's a compromise that can be made here that's right, or that's looks at the human as a human,
Yeah. Well, I
right?
mean,
And at the same time looks at the human that's a bad human as what they are.
no. Well, I mean, Reagan did it, so I mean, it's not too far off. You know what I mean? He felt the same
It's
way.
just the numbers.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Yeah. So the empathy part about it, yeah, I'm with you on that. It's obviously you empathize with these people who basically dropped everything in their home country, the only country they've ever known growing up, and obviously there must have been no opportunities for them, so they must have been just struggling, stressed the hell out, and were willing to come all the way to a country where they don't know what the hell's going to happen, how they're going to survive, and they took that big chance. So their desperation is, I think, is it's obvious, for them to do, for them to always have been doing that for decades. I think it's people that are just desperate and have no other way of providing for their families or whatever out in whatever country they're from. So I get the empathy part. So that's kind of where I think the message, and so I think what your approach is controversial because obviously we know that Trump is not saying that. Trump has said he's gonna start the biggest deportation program in American history. And when hearing that, I'm with you on how that already sounds, how it might look. It is going to look like Gestapo. You're going to have that shit every damn week. ICE rounding up and groups of people, families. They're going to be crying their asses off. Already there's going to be people, press with cell phones recording this. It's going to go viral all over social media of how it's playing out, and it's going to look really bad. But so I think the message is incomplete. Like they're saying, we're going to kick you out and then build a wall, and that's it. So that's where Trump's message really is. It's just kick them out and build a wall. Kick them out and build a wall. I think they need to address what the underlying issue of why there's immigration, why these people are leaving. And so my approach, what I've written in the notes is, I think the United States has it in them, has enough smart people to look into these countries. Let's just start off with, say, Mexico, and find out why there's so much corruption. How could they stop immigration? How could they create a better economy that creates more jobs for their own people, so that they don't have to immigrate. They don't got to come to the United States, and do that and apply that same process to every country where immigration is occurring. So I don't know. I don't know if that kind of makes sense. So basically, what I'd written was,
It makes sense.
you get what I'm saying? So I don't know what kind of people. So say they'd be just engineers or whatever the hell. So they go in, they look at their economy, they look at how they collect taxes, they look at how that money's being used, they determine where the corruption is, and then I put in the notes, basically they give that away for free. They just say they come up with this big fucking plan, they put it online, and they tell the people of that country, say Mexico, say, look, citizens of this country, go read this. This is how you fix your country. This is how you create jobs. This is what you got to do. And so as far as how it affects the United States, yeah, if they break the law, they should be sent back. You know, if they came here illegally and then they're still here breaking the law, and if they're wanted, they should be sent back. I'm with you that there's some people that are coming here, for work, and they're trying to provide and send money back to their people. Maybe increase the the worker programs, so that they can go back and forth or be here for a little while, collect as much money as they can, or just be, basically have just basically worker visas, and they could come here for a temporary amount of time, but they got to go back eventually, and rotate it that way. But as far as people that just break the law and they're unaccounted for, I think we should start talking about what is causing emigration from those countries. And you see, I think a good example is kind of what's happening in El Salvador, where the Ukele, whatever the hell his name is, the president, he rounded up basically all the criminals. People were leaving there, and they were using not political. What the hell is it? What is the word when they're leaving for danger of their lives?
Asylum.
Asylum, yeah, seeking asylum. So now I don't know. I mean, what their economy is like. They're doing a lot of good moves in El Salvador, so I'm pretty sure they're going to be reversing immigration pretty soon. But something like that needs to happen in every country. So that was my approach. That basically it's not enough to just say we got to kick them out and build the wall to keep them out. We need to figure out what is causing immigration in every country. And I know it's a huge it's not it's huge way of going about it, but fuck, how long has America been dealing with immigration? How long has it divided the countries? We're talking about fucking almost 100 years, like whatever, well, however you want to look at, how
Well, basically, I would say I agree with you on that too. And then that's just a point past what I said,
mhm.
and I agree that has to be addressed as well. And I think so. If you decide who you're going to keep and who you're not going to keep, you do that. Well, first you secure the border; it's secured. Then you deal with the people that are here. Who can we keep? Who can't we keep? Right?
Yeah,
And you make the bad people, they got to go back. We're not keeping them because they're going to be here doing all kinds of bad shit, causing lots of problems, and we're not doing that.
yeah,
The good people here, you can turn them into productive citizens. Not turn them into, they already will be. They're good people, so they're gonna do what's, basically they're gonna live basically right, like, most people.
yeah,
So that's fine as long as we can assimilate them in a non-damaging way, which I think we can. It's probably doable. And then at that point, now you've got the people here dealt with, you've got the border secured. Now you can go ahead and deal with the cause of it. And I would say my approach to that would be I would look at Mexico first because they share a border with the United States. We got good trade with them. They
yeah,
have all the natural resources in the world
yeah,
and
yeah,
the United States of America to have a ridiculously strong economy just like the United States. They
yes,
could do this. They could do this very easily. The problem that they have is that the cartels and the people running there. It's not even super corrupt. It's 100% corrupt. And I think the only way to deal with that is honestly, I hate to say it this way, but it's the truth, to get Mexico into a position government wise where they can actually reap the benefits of their natural resources and their partnership with the United States is you're going to have to go in there and kill
yeah,
all the cartels.
yep,
You not even put them in jail. You have to go kill them and basically institute like a military state for a little bit,
yeah,
and you're going to have some checks and balances on that probably through the United States help. And then you get a government in there that's legit, and the United States helps and protects them while they um, put in place a new system of government and let it grow. Like it's like planting grass. You got to keep watering it and let it grow. And eventually it's going to have enough roots that it's going to be sustainable on its own. Then you can back out of there and let the Mexico be Mexico.
yeah,
And,
yep,
and Mexico will be such a prosperous and great place to be that they're not going to want to come here. We're
yeah,
probably going to want to go there,
yeah,
right? Then
yeah,
after that,
exactly,
Mexico is now the one who deals with their southern neighbors, and so on,
yeah,
right? If they haven't, we're not going to have the immigration problem now because Mexico is going to secure their border, southern border, because they're going to be in the same position as us. Hey, look, we got this really good economy, we got this great place to live, freedom and all this stuff. We don't want all these people coming in from south of us,
Yeah.
right? And they're not going to be trying to come here. So now they're going to have an issue with their border and that they will deal with. And they're going to have the capability to do that at that point because they're strong enough and free enough and
Yeah.
democratic enough.
Yeah.
So I think Mexico, if you deal with Mexico for the United States' sake, if Mexico's dealt with
Yeah.
in a way that makes them prosperous like we are, then our problem goes away.
Yep, that's exactly what I feel, Dan. That Mexico should be first, and they should make their economy as close
There's
as
no
ours to where people start immigrating there. But you
there's
know,
no reason Mexico can't be on par with the United States economically,
yeah, and
other than other
uh,
than the cartels.
as far as the cartels, I mean, I think Trump's been saying it that he plans on sending strike forces out there to take
Yeah,
them out. That's it. Like
and it's not even arresting them; it's killing them.
yeah.
You got to kill the leadership of them. Period.
At this point, they're not really cartel. They're fucking terrorists. They really are terrorizing their own country,
Right.
and they're
It's a
brutal.
war.
They're as brutal
Right.
as the Taliban. So yeah, you can't look at
You
us
have
the
to,
same way.
and then you would have to kill all of them, and then you would have to maintain a super strong military force on the streets because people are going to keep trying to do that because it's the culture.
What did you see? What the president of El Salvador did as far as corrupt politicians?
No.
Yeah, he lined them all up for the press, and he stripped them all down. They're arrested. So basically, yeah, he's getting rid of corruption in the government. Like
Yeah, you have
just
to go super hard.
yeah, exactly, and that's basically been the problem with Mexico. People think that it's just been so corrupt for so long. It's just a few people. It's worse than the United States as far as
Right.
concentration of power and shit.
Right.
And it's been like that forever. So yeah, they need to deal with that. But yeah, that's definitely as far as immigration. That's a great stance, Mr. President.
Yeah, I
We
wouldn't want
agree
to
with
live
that.
in Mexico really either under that. So I could see why these people come here. So, I get it. And like I said, if we made them citizens, our path to citizenship, right? And they become citizens, productive members of this country. And then we deal with Mexico after that and get Mexico to the place I'm talking about. A lot of these people are just going to want to go back
Yeah.
on their own. They're going to be like, hey, see you later. I'm going to paradise.
I was going to say real quick, as far as your approach on how to deal with the ones that are here, trying to keep the good ones. I was thinking, yeah, if they're going to deport some of them, obviously the bad ones, the ones that are breaking the law, the ones that are wanted in other, that have like rap sheets in their home country, the ones that
Yeah.
we might want to keep, maybe they could kind of turn themselves in, like report, try to maybe register themselves that they're in the country, but they would have to have proof that they could get a job, proof that they could have a place to live, so they're not a burden, like in any way, and then maybe deal with it that way, and maybe apply like a worker visa program in that sense, where maybe expedite the legal way of getting into the country, whatever the hell it is that makes it take so long. Try to remove obstacles that'll make it a little bit more
Well,
quick,
yeah, I mean,
more
we don't
quicker.
ever get rid of the legal way. That stays in place the whole time. I have
But
no,
but but obviously they're breaking the law because that way takes too long. So figure out what the hell, why does it take so long? I mean, like if
right.
you're able to keep track of them, if right now what they're doing is just giving them cell phones and trusting that that approach, maybe something along those lines. But
Well,
I don't know.
the reason that the people come here isn't because they can't do it legally. Well, they can't. Well, it's because okay, so you got billions of people who would rather be here than where they are, whether it be in Central, South America, Africa, wherever around the world. There's billions of people who would rather be here, right? So we can't take all of them.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and as far as, I mean, so the people who are here, who came here illegally, that we decide, okay, these are probably going to be good citizens. Yeah, obviously they're going to have a time frame that they have to come and check in and go through a process.
yeah,
If they don't do that, well, now they are deported,
yeah, yeah,
right? Because they've proven themselves that they're not going to be a productive member of our society. But if they do willingly come in and go through the process, right, then fine,
yeah,
you know. And I'm not even worried about them proving they can get a job or proving they can do this or that, because what else are they going to do? They're people. They're going to go get a job. They're not bad people because they don't have criminal records. They haven't committed crimes here. They came voluntarily, checked in, are going through the process. So what are they going to do? They're going to get jobs. They're going to start families. They're going to buy a house. They're going to do what any other human being would do. So that kind of takes care of itself.
Well,
And
just to, I guess, to
it,
ensure that that they don't even think that they might choose a life of crime, that they have to be responsible if we're gonna be allowing them. So I guess I would think it that way, but
I think that by them going through those steps, they're kind of proving that already. However, they're human beings, and so some of them are going to turn to crime, even though you wouldn't suspect it. Just like an American, will turn to crime, and you don't know,
no,
right? They could have a job, be doing the regular life, and all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to rob a bank, whatever.
yeah,
That happens. So you can't get 100% blanket over this. And hey, we got everyone, we got all the good ones, and got rid of all the bad ones, right?
yeah,
But you can really make it a high probability that they're going to be a good, productive citizen. And if they become otherwise, then you deal with them at that point.
yeah.
Um,
Okay,
but yeah, I think it's a manageable plan that because the alternative is like and I don't even think Trump will do that. He might be saying that, but I don't think Trump's going to go, hey, I'm going to go round up 20, 30 million people and
yeah,
and you know what I mean. It would be ridiculous to do that. It's the my point is that you can't it's a done deal. You can't go round up tens of millions of people.
yeah,
It's not going to happen. I don't
but
care if somebody wants to do that, thinks it's a great idea. Even if I thought it was a great idea, it's not feasible.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't do it, right? You can't do it without causing fucking a nightmare. And even then, you're not going to get everybody. But even if you did, you're going to cause way more problems than you're going to solve. So it's better to say, hey, let's use logic here. These people are here in the millions. Okay, what are we going to do with them? Who are these people? Most of these people are basically just people who are looking for a better life. Okay, let's go ahead and help them with that, but we're going to stop them from coming any more from coming in without us knowing and approving. But we're the ones that are here that we can pretty much high probability say they're decent people. We're going to help them to become uh, to get a better life because there really isn't any alternative that's not ugly as shit,
yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah. I thought
and,
about
and
that
it,
too.
it's the right thing to do on a human level. It's not so many people that we can't do it, but it's getting to that point where hey, we're it may be too many. So
Yeah.
we're getting close to that number. Or if we might have already passed it, we may have to get rid of some of them. I don't know. They would have to do a study on that, but I think we're okay.
Yeah, it's definitely yeah. So I thought about that too. How it's gonna look once if he does implement that plan. But
I
all right,
don't think
so
he'll do. I don't think he's. I think he has a heart too, and I think he has some empathy as well. So I don't think he would do. I don't think he would deport everybody. He's
not
definitely going to
everybody,
deport.
yeah, to a certain extent, I think they'll do it, but for sure, not
Right.
nothing that looks too drastic. So
I think it would be something along what I'm saying is what Trump would probably do as well.
yeah,
I'm not positive, but that's my inclination. That's the feeling I get.
okay. So I think we agree on that one. Yeah, as far as yeah, just the addressing both sides of it, how we deal with it here, and as far as how we deal with immigration in general, like the people leaving their own countries. I think yeah, Mexico would definitely be a good place to start. Okay, so on the next one, we got about 20 minutes before we hit the 2 hour mark, Dan. So
Okay.
I don't want to shut off, but we'll get it through as many as we can. So we got the fourth one now. Do we need to reform public education? If so, how? Do you think there's a problem with the public education?
Yeah.
How do you think it's
Honestly,
affecting society?
honestly, in California, if I had a elementary any kid in any age, I would not send them to public school. At this point in California, it's child abuse.
Oh shit, yeah,
Um, and the reason is that the same bad actors of the deep state are also in our education system.
yeah.
So they are the politicians and that are the elites are trying to brainwash our children into being what they want instead of just educating them.
Well, didn't
So
that
how to
actually
deal
did,
with it?
didn't that
Go
actually
ahead.
start when public education began, like in the 20s and 30s and shit? Like, Didn't they have like some sort
Well,
of agenda, like and
I mean,
basically keeping the public dumb, like
I don't know. I went through
dumbing
public
down
school.
at
I went through
public
public
education?
school, and I think I did okay. I don't remember them trying to indoctrinate me. I mean, they're indoctrinating you into the American way of life, but the American way of life is, hey, you're going to have freedom. You're going to have constitutional rights. We fought wars for this, right? So
Yeah,
I don't remember when I was in college. Yeah, yes, the indoctrination was in there. I'd be in a college class, and it was like if professor would be spewing out their liberal ideology, and if you spoke out against it, you knew you were getting the worst grade,
really?
not because of your schoolwork, but because of your ideology.
Oh
So
shit!
yeah, yeah, public universities on that level, they are nothing more than indoctrination centers for the government.
Damn. So
That's
you
all
saw it
they are.
firsthand, huh? So it is true.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh
I
wow.
used to even have a Rush Limbaugh book I would have in class, and you wouldn't believe the dirty looks I would be getting. People even
No
talking crap to me. But
wow.
and why? Because I disagree with you, and so you want to live in a country where no one's allowed to disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, but then at the same damn breath, you're talking about freedom.
Yeah.
It makes
Wow.
no sense. You're actually advocating against freedom while advocating for freedom. Make up my mind, right? But yeah, I did deal with it firsthand. It was kind of an eye opener. I didn't know that was going to happen, and it didn't happen until I got to college.
Well, I don't know. I guess I've always just thought about just public education, like at elementary schools and high school, and the things that were taught. And obviously, I think a big problem with homelessness is lack of education, crime, gangs and stuff like that. All that's a lack of education. So I think the approach, the way the curriculums that they've been teaching, us for decades, I don't think they're working. I mean, I think obviously gangs have always existed. Homelessness has gotten worse. I don't know. I don't know exactly how. I've seen question. Have you ever seen questions under the No Child Left Behind approach? The way they phrased the questions. My stepdaughter, she would come home from fourth grade, and oh my god, just the way they would ask her 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 tests were written, man. It's crazy. It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like I get they claim that it's meant to make them a more of a critical thinker to try to figure out how to answer the question. But it's
Mm,
just to me, it's just it didn't make sense. Like it was, I think the fastest approach to the question that they're trying to ask is better because they absorb it better, as opposed to I don't know. I guess I'd have to show you an example to kind of explain what I mean, but it's ridiculous. So, but even like just the not necessarily just how they lay out the questions and stuff like that right now, but just the topics, like I think it needs to be reformed in a way where it's based on a child's brain level at whatever age. So, for example, when you're in kindergarten, you learn how to read, you learn how to maybe write, you learn your shapes and colors and stuff like that. But then first grade, math should already be a little bit more advanced. They should put more focus on that. As far as like history and stuff like that, I always give the example. I remember in fourth grade, them teaching us about the Native Americans in California and stuff like that. And I think now, like I don't know, to me it just seems like fourth grade for that type of topic. It's too soon. Like you don't really grasp the how what relevance it has, in life. Yeah, you learn about that in fourth grade, but by junior
right,
high,
but
you forget all that shit. You don't even know what the hell the point of learning that. I think topics like that are more important when you're older. So base the curriculums on by age and gradually build them up to important things. Maybe by high school they learn more about politics and world history and stuff like that, but let the it should be reformed to kind of be where they learn more about their surroundings. Maybe they learn how the economy works, how things are paid for, how jobs work, and science and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't think I think certain topics of science they teach too soon, and I think it needs to be changed to where it it goes along with how your brain develops as you age. I don't know
Right.
if all of that makes sense.
It does make sense, and I know exactly why. They're
So
doing it earlier with like Native Americans and science and things like that. They're doing it earlier because you're not able to critically think at that age like you should be able to and ask questions and actually disagree. So whatever they teach you at that point, you are now brainwashed and indoctrinated into that sort of thinking. And as you grow older, then you're gonna be less inclined to critically think about it because it was instilled into you at such a young age.
yeah,
So Indians good, white Americans bad. Science, God bad, science good,
yeah,
right? We
yeah,
get rid of God, we get rid of Indians. We break down the family, all these things, the transgender. We get all this stuff into you before you're able to actually comprehend what it is. But we got it in there. We planted the seeds to grow so that when you get older and you're actually able to question these things, you really won't, you'll be less inclined to because we got you so early that we brainwashed you. So they're trying to brainwash children at a young age.
yeah,
But so you covered a lot of things there. So I would say, as far as public education goes, let's just take for a scenario that public education isn't doing this brainwashing. Like in the past, I don't think it was. It is now.
yeah,
So, and you bring up gangs and homelessness as a result of public education. I think that's a fallacy, really, because I think take gangs for instance, or people not doing well in school. It isn't because if you have a legitimate public education system like we've had in the past that was actually trying to educate the students for their betterment.
hmm,
If that's in place, and we still had gangs, right? The gangs aren't a result of that. The education's there, but the home life is not,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's true.
So that's why they're going into gangs because they're the father's not at home, or there's substance abuse in the house, or
Yeah, that's true. That's
domestic
definitely
violence.
another aspect to that. Yeah,
And then the homeless, there's two things there. The majority of homeless are addicted to a substance, and the others are schizophrenic, paranoid schizophrenic. So the majority of homeless are one of those two things, mostly drug addicted or alcohol addicted. And it's also being pushed now. That's in the past. That's how it is in the past. And now it's actually being pushed by the establishment, the elites. The more homeless for them, the better, because you have less powerless of a voice and easily controlled, right? So you're not going to go vote. And if you do, you're going to vote for them because they're the only ones going to give you any assistance. Because reasonable people are going, I'm not going to go out there and start handing out drugs and money and things like that and housing to people who are sitting there shooting up drugs on the street corner, my kids walking by. But the establishment will go, I'm going to do that so I can keep them homeless and powerless. And if they do vote, they're going to vote for me because I'm their drug dealer,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so, and I'm the one that will give them some food or housing here and there. So most of them don't want housing, but they'll give you whatever you want on a small scale to keep you in the position you are. So, but before the government was getting involved like that, the homelessness is it always existed. It's just way more now because of government propitiation. I mean, government's actually pushing it.
yeah,
But before they were pushing it, it's not a matter of public education. It's a matter of, once again, the home life and their environment outside of the school, where they become drug addicted or they become alcohol addicted, or they succumb to schizophrenia, develop a mental illness. And because the studies have been done that the majority of homeless that aren't drug addicted and aren't mentally ill, mainly
yeah.
schizophrenic, don't stay homeless for longer than 3 months, because
Oh,
they'll
really?
they'll find a way. They get back on their feet, right? They're
Hmm.
not. There's nothing holding them back other than, maybe they couldn't find a job or something like that, or they lost the job for whatever reason, laid off, whatever. But it's not because they're drug addicted or alcohol addicted. So
Yeah,
homelessness is a cause of substance abuse. Gangs are a cause of the family environment. It's
yeah,
really not public education issue.
yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess it's a lot of different aspect to both of those things, but I think it would help if another part of the notes that I'd put was including a financial literacy courses in high school, so that
Yeah, that's
people know
yeah,
how
that's
the economy
really good.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
so
good.
so and that's something they're already applying. My stepdaughter, she learned that in seventh grade, but that's already, I think that's way too soon. I think they need to teach that like in your junior year and senior year, and it should be a
Yeah,
requirement that you pass that you fucking learn that.
right.
But that type of program could be applied to, people in jail, to homeless people, if they learned a financial literacy course, and studied it and mastered it, they'd know more on how to financially,
Sure.
secure themselves and stuff like that. And I think people that, kids, especially nowadays, that choose like a life of crime, a lot of these kids don't get this shit like that. They don't get, what I mean,
Right.
if I have a job, I got money. If I put save, and I could rent an apartment, and I could buy things, and live responsibly. I don't got to choose this life. A lot of them don't get, how that any of that works. They don't understand it. It's like they can't comprehend it, because they just they weren't educated towards that, and obviously whatever life they're
I,
living
I
has taken over.
I would agree with that 100%. That financial literacy course would be a fantastic thing to put into education.
Uh,
I mean, I don't think that I don't remember even having it myself. I mean, we had economics,
yeah,
and things like that, but just a common sense financial literacy for the real world application
yeah,
would be a great idea
yeah,
to have something like that, because you're going to get out into the real world, and you're going to, and you're either going to find it out how to do it here before you're in the real world, or you're going to find out the hard way, which honestly, most of us find out the hard way.
yeah, yeah. But some people can't deal with it, so I think
Right. Right.
a big portion of those people end up being either homeless or choosing crime. They end up in jail. They try to do the fast life, and because they
Right.
don't see how easy it can be. I mean, obviously it's a pain in the ass to have a 9 to 5 job, but fuck, if you're not in jail and you're not living out in the street, I think it's a it's a better alternative.
I agree that now that's a public education thing that I do think
All
that
right,
is a disservice that they're not doing that. That is a great idea.
all
To
right,
do that would be a great idea, and public education can definitely reduce some of the problems you just discussed by doing that. I
yeah,
100% agree with that.
all right, excellent. All right, then we got less than 3 minutes, bro. So I guess we've gone through four. The fifth one, let me see. Public health. I don't know. We can't do this in 3 minutes, so maybe we'll
Yeah,
pick
well,
this up on the next one, brother.
all right.
So then, yeah. So as far as today's show, that was excellent, man. And I wasn't sure how long this segment was gonna last, but I found real quick it might have been the one you were referencing on our first episode when you talked about OJ talking about or how Ron Goldman supposedly got in a karate stance. Did you see that from an interview with OJ Simpson in that?
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit! I never seen that video of him
He's
talking
like,
about it.
if I did it,
Yeah,
this is did
he.
it. Like, what an idiot!
Oh my god, I can't believe
Idiot.
that. He's for sure. I've never seen
He
that.
told you how he told you exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, my girl was watching a movie about that, and so I was just interested in some of the details. And so I started looking on YouTube, and I found this video, and fuck, he just confesses completely, and he keeps saying like, "Oh, it was just hypothetical," but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
There's certain points where he starts talking about details. You could see it affected him, man. So
Yeah,
so yeah,
no,
maybe next episode we'll play some videos and stuff like that. But
of
uh,
the
huh?
of the OJ thing.
Yeah, of that interview, man. That's just
Oh
crazy
yeah, yeah.
shit.
We can go into that some more. There's even videos now with Kato Kalin. He does a podcast, and he talks a lot about what happened that day, and he
Oh,
talks
really?
a lot about it. And Kato Kalin's like, oh yeah, he did it.
Oh,
you
no
know,
shit.
he was there that day, right?
Yeah.
He's the first the cops talk to, but yeah. So yeah, we can definitely do a deeper dive on that, because I did a lot of research on the OJ. I know exactly what happened and how he did it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then we'll do that. All right. So we're less than a minute, brother. So then another good show, bro. So yeah, we got some
Yeah,
good stuff in there.
thank you.
Yeah, we went too damn long, bro. We need to do this every week.
And
Fucking, there's a lot of stuff we need to
well, we have
cover.
been doing a week or so, right?
We missed one week when I pushed it to Monday, and then we didn't do it, so we
Oh,
missed
okay.
we missed one week, but that's okay.
Close. We're close to it.
Yeah. All right, then we're at 20 seconds, brother. So then, have a good rest of your day. This will be up soon, and another good one, bro.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Hopefully you're cool with that. Cool. All right, Dan.
Yep.
We'll talk to you after.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, bro. You too.